The one thing I'd like to point out is Koshka Lance being capable of picking up at the same time is not something we've seen yet, so this is actually a little bit of a new variation of the draft. It feels good to have Githian Wall on the other side. I saw the Gwyn hover, which I actually was not against. I mean, we can see Skedaddle get you instantly out of the Koshka ultimate. It seems like it could be a potential pickup, but Legion wasn't really feeling it at the moment, going with Skye. Bit risky. Koshka, especially the new Koshka into Skye with Lance, that's going to have to be a lot of outplay potential.
I think their main worry with Gwen probably was that they were thinking of running it CP, and that would take them into quite a late game, and they don't really want to play that against TSM. TSM are actually going to lock in the Gwen here as their final pick, so they've decided to take it away.
Fuji loves this, the ability to scale up from something that, you have to Koshka with the early aggression, and regardless of where you want to go with Gwen and your build path, you always have that buffer of the Koshka. I know you always talk about when you pick a late game team, it's nice to have some.
Yeah, I like that Infamous Legion don't even try to contest that. They know that they don't stack up the same way with that early fighting power, so they go ahead and just avoid that. They give away those fronts. Yeah, it's a little bit of gold going into Team SoloMid, but if you die, that's the snowball that's going to go against you.
Absolutely. I think you definitely want to be quite conservative against this Koshka-Gwen composition that can be very explosive and really get off the ground quite quickly. There's a root, though, speaking of getting off the ground. Flash Jacks helping Team SoloMid pick up an early kill.
Well, that was about as easy as it gets right there. Honestly, I'm very afraid for this Skye. I think Def Q is going to have an extremely hard game. As you look at what Skye wants to do, she wants to abuse her mobility as one of the most mobile heroes in the game, but you're going up against a Gwen with Buckshot, the Von C Koshka. This is going to be incredibly difficult.
It's also conditional mobility, so unlike when you're in the jungle and you come into a skirmish and you basically just always have your lock-on onto someone, if you're in the lane, it might be onto a minion, and if your opponents just wait for you to kill that minion and then jump in, you can't reaction Surrey Strike to get away, right? It's a timing that Team SoloMid can abuse.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's quite predictable up in this lane. I think that's a really good point, Jackson. And it's going to be tough as time goes on. I think even in the jungle, even with lock-on, waiting for the perfect Surrey Strike, you're still going to have a lot of trouble getting away from this team.
And we've talked about this quite a lot in our region's Evil 8. Lance early on can be the bane of one of these Skye players. If you land those impales, it's very difficult for them to do too much. Voice actually taking a lot of damage here. He's going to be able to back away. Team SoloMid continuing to be quite aggressive as Vonsi moves into the backs as well.
Vonsi being sneaky.
He might find Spaghetti here. Does he have the damage 1 versus 1 to take him down? Pouncing Fun to kick things off. Twirly Death as well. Vonsi does find a few basics. But Spaghetti actually with the buff, doing a little bit more there.
Yeah, Spaghetti's going to move around. He doesn't want to let the mid go over.
Oh, it does go over to Von C, though, and with that heal, they're definitely going to feel confident about fighting. Voice over the wall is going to intercept that rotation out of Best Chuck with Def Q coming down as well.
Nice,
Best Chuck needs to duck behind the minions. If he wants to get out here, one more base attack finds it. Flash X and Von C, they want to make this an even trade, though. They get Spaghetti, so it is going to be the jungler traded away for the laner.
Yeah, the Spaghetti was delicious there. Team SoloMid take that down, and now it's a 2-1 kill advantage going the way of Team SoloMid, and I think this is what they'll be able to do over and over again, and we'll watch Flash. I think one of the things also Flash was talked about in the past is, like, with this roam lance, like, you really have to be landing your abilities. It's even more so than that core lance.
Vonsi not getting the treant this time, so he does need to book it out of there. He's quite low right now. Voice, not a lance, doesn't have that hard CC of the Impale stun, so he's not going to be able to keep the chase going for now. Infamous Legion successfully defend their backs.
Yeah, it's a really very important thing that they've just done right here. Let's see if they can do that. Vonsi hasn't really hit a power spike right now. His boots are going to be on cooldown for a little bit of time, so we'll see if Infamous Legion able to go ahead and stall this out for a little bit.
What direction would you like to see Vonsi going in itemization-wise this game, Humanist? We've seen Shatterglass, we've seen Double Shatterglass, we've seen Aftershock. There's a lot of different paths for Koshka right now.
It's really tough. I think he would be pretty well suited to actually get into an Aftershock early in this game, but it doesn't look like that's the route he's going.
All right, we'll see which he decides to commit to. Maybe just going for that additional crystal bit for some early burst. There's a lot of different options. Team SoloMid, the 2-for-1 right now, are up a decent amount in gold considering how few kills and how little of the game has transpired just now. Vonsi is going to be taking a camp for free. Spaghetti not even trying to contest that tree, and Vonsi looking for another one. Doesn't have the Pouncy Fun to lock it down, though. Things quite passive compared to last game.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're passive and simultaneously aggressive. It's almost like they're dodging the aggression just very well, and it makes it feel like that passive style of game, but I think you got to give a lot of credit to Infamous Legion in that regard.
So talk to me about Vainglory taking the minion miner right there, although hang on a second, he is going to be taking away one of the backs and finding some damage in here as well. Quater Voice is backing him up, but we got the rotation out of Best Chuck and Flash. They've got a Fountain Spaghetti immediately getting taken out. Can DefQ get out of here? That's going to be Yummy Cat and Frenzy. Vainglory sacrifices himself for a second kill. Perhaps they can leverage this, maybe get some push down in the lane, maybe find the gold miner.
Well, I think the idea there is that you don't have the strongest jungle, right? And so it means if your laner is pinned up into his lane because that lane is constantly pushed in, then he can't make that rotation. If he's making the rotation, he's not getting the CS right there. And if he's not getting that, he's not getting that item progression.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting point. I like the fact that Vainglory's going for that minion miner early on, though, because certainly not something you rarely see taking your opponent's minion miner. It gives them an avenue back, right? It says, all right, we've taken this minion miner, but if you just come down when you eventually force us out, or if you get good vision, you have 150 gold easily, and you're able to stay on the same track as us. Or perhaps, you know, some people, if they're behind in lane, like to have their lane shoved against them so they can farm more safely. Vainglory, though, is going to be pressuring some more.
Well, maybe Vainglory just wanting a buddy in the jungle with him since Flash was hanging out in the lane so much. He's like, all right, you're not coming? Well, I'll just take the mini mine.
That's perhaps a case. It does give some vision, so Vainglory might be using that to gauge when and where he can invade and how much he can get away with. DefQ does need to be careful as well here in the lane as Team SoloMid force down this turret.
Things are going to get really tough, I think, through the next couple minutes here for Infamous Legion. If one of these key targets is locked down with a Yummy Cat and a Frenzy, everything falls apart.
Well, Best Chuck right now does need to be careful as well as the forward barrage deals some good damage onto him. Basic attacks from DefQ as well. Force the Fountain out. Vainglory coming in from the flank wants some action. Yummy Cat and Frenzy on DefQ finds the kill, but Best Chuck falls to Quater Voice. It's going to be the one-for-one trade so far. Spaghetti's still full health. That should be Team SoloMid backing away.
Yeah, they're going to go ahead and put the retreat into full effect here. And it's pretty important that they're able to get that return kill. I'm actually surprised that Quater Voice was able to do so. Best Chuck, I guess, hanging around just a little bit too long there. And the damage that's starting to come out, you have to respect.
Vainglory, speaking of damage, does now have a Shatter Glass and is trying to leverage that by going for some damage against the players here. Oh, knockback! Stops the Gauntlet from trapping in Vainglory. He picks up the camp. That's the Treant regeneration on top of him. With Best Chuck nearby, Infamous Legion can't do too much.
Well, I guess, you know, Flash, as a major Arden player, would know how annoying Lance is into that.
Ace is high, coming across the wall. Quater Voice getting locked down. A Gideon wall against the ruins of the turret. Finds the kill for Team SoloMid. They're 6-3, 3,000 gold in the lead right now.
You know, I think one of the things that we have to think of is DefQ. He does not want to build defense on this guy. The glass cannon strategies you talked about before, but he is going to be blown up by this win if he's in range for basic attacks. And it is going to be just get tougher and tougher as time goes on. I'm really curious to see if he actually sticks with that whole strategy they were talking about.
Well, this is his last chance to change it up, potentially, because if Infamous Legion lose here, they're out of the World Championship, and Team SoloMid advance second North American team to the semifinals. So if DefQ wants to maybe try getting some defense, now's the time to do it. Same for Spaghetti.
Yeah, I think the only saving grace for him if he doesn't get that defense, and the reason that I didn't think the burst was as good of an idea is just because you have the Vanguard and you do have the Adagio on your team. So if you don't take him down with that burst build, then everything falls apart, right? Because it's just a nice Vanguard into heal and you're suddenly right back in fighting shape.
All right, Team SoloMid, they're 4,000 gold in the lead right now. They're situated around the gold miner, posturing to maybe go pressure the jungle a little bit more. This Treant has only been taken, I believe, once or twice by Infamous Legion. They're basically playing from just a further position back on the map.
Yeah, it's really tough, but this is exactly what TSM did in the first game right there. Vainglory! No mercy right here. He takes it away. Just bad manners taking away that camp right there. Doesn't feel good to be Infamous Legion right now.
No, it really doesn't. They need to rally themselves and push back because, as I said, this is their last opportunity. Gold Mine are going to be the next target for Team SoloMid. They're picking up every objective across the map that they possibly can. Note that Infamous Legion hasn't even attempted to take their minion miner back. Again, I think they like the fact that the minions are pushing a little bit more aggressively from Team SoloMid's side. They would rather farm more safely on their side of the map.
Yeah, it goes both ways, definitely. Like the idea with TSM putting pressure early on in the lane meant that the laner couldn't rotate down. But if you don't go ahead and take one of those mini miners away, it's constantly going to be pushed into the lane. And oftentimes when a team is actually down, you'll look at the CS numbers and be like, wow, how does this laner have the same amount of farm? It's not really the case here, but it could add up that way.
It absolutely could. And I think one nice thing that TSM is doing is that whenever there is kind of a wave that Infamous Legion would like to take, that's when they sort of show up near the lane, maybe just below it in the jungle, and make it difficult for DefQ or Spaghetti to feel safe about going up there and trying to farm it all. So that's going to be one Treant going the way of Infamous Legion. They're not entirely out of it yet.
Yeah, I'm also curious to see what direction Quartervoice goes for his next major item. We see Vainglory moving in aggressively. Are they going to get Spaghetti?
Spaghetti doesn't find the reflex block for that. Githian wall goes down without Yummy Cat and Frenzy even being used. Quartervoice can't find the gauntlet. Vainglory wants a little bit more. 404 damage just from Pouncy Fun. Infamous Legion is collapsing right now. It's a third turret for Team SoloMid. They've got victory in their sights.
I was going to say crumbling, collapsing. It's all working here for Team SoloMid. Infamous Legion, it feels like there's almost nothing they can do right now. And one of the major problems is you've picked up this weapon, Sky, and if she has a decent early game, that's great, but really you need a breaking point a lot of times to come online, and she gets incredibly strong later into the game, and you have to have a lot of fear when she does come online, but at this rate, she never will.
I've got to agree with you, and I like the fact that they are focusing that farm onto DefQ, not Spaghetti. I mean, you could make an argument for Spaghetti carrying a little bit harder, a little bit earlier, so perhaps if they made the call to swap farm focus onto him early, that could have been the right one. But as it stands, they've waited too long, and it's really on DefQ to bring Infamous Legion back into this.
Well, let's see if they can make this stand. One good fight could bring Infamous right back into this game. Spaghetti kind of in a bad place, but a Vanguard from his buddy will get him back into the safety of his base.
Look at the itemization. So we've now just got that breaking point you were talking about, Humanist onto DefQ, but Spaghetti actually has no fully completed items, right? Like, he's sitting on tier 2s across the board. He's just not relevant in fights right now.
Yeah, he's not relevant in fights. And even going back to DefQ having the breaking point, while I said that's a big pickup, and it is, it's also important to have your boots ready to activate and picking up an infusion. And I think when you have all of that come together, you can say, all right, team, I'm ready to fight. But right now, they're about a minute away from that.
And on the flip side, of course, BestChuck does have his boots active available. Tyrant's Monocle on top of the same items as DefQ. So he's in a much better position. And with Flash X running point guard and Vainglory being a nuisance on the back line, Team SoloMid actually feels comfortable maybe going for some turrets in the base right now. Aces High just barely missing DefQ by a hair. Vainglory jumping back onto the turret. Burst coming out. Does land the damage on the BestChuck, but the turret still goes away of Team SoloMid. Even without a Kraken, they're being so aggressive right now. Infamous force the fountain. Perhaps sometime soon is a good opportunity to maybe jump in. Just make the Hail Mary play. They've got to do something.
Yeah, I feel that them jumping in would be the wrong play, though. I really would like to see them abuse the aggression of TSM there, and I would have actually liked to see that gauntlet come down, combo it up with the verse in that last fight there, but it didn't happen, so we'll see moving forward if they can do that. DefQ, his boots are almost ready to come up here. He's getting closer to that infusion, and I wonder if that's why Team SoloMid, knowing the power of the Sky, is about to hit a huge power spike, why they turn up the aggression so hard.
Yeah, that could absolutely be the case. I mean, Team SoloMid, obviously, they're massively ahead right now. They're about 8,000 gold in the lead with many more kills. They're about to get another gold mine or two.
Immense gold.
How would you like them to lock this in? Just go again towards the base, use some minion candies, and force one more turret?
Well, they can do that. I would honestly like to see them just do the cheeky, annoying play of hiding in one of these bushes, maybe where Infamous Legion won't expect them. You could do that either by, you know, having... Oh, that's going to be the Gauntlet.
Yeah, Gauntlet used very defensively there. Quartervoice worried about the push coming out of Team SoloMid. Vainglory does take a lot of damage. BestChuck untouched on the back line. He's looking to find some damage onto the turret right now. It's down to half. Vainglory jumping in. They're just going to force it.
Is this
they
over?
Might look for the Vein Crystal right now. Humanist, that's one kill going on to Quartervoice. BestChuck is not being harassed at all. Spaghetti and DefQ trying desperately.
They got to take this win down.
He's so close. The Vein Crystal could go down. Flash X doesn't have
Can Flash do it?
Can he do
Can
it?
Flash do it?
Can't find it. Team SoloMid. Wow, that was so close to a win. But Infamous Legion hold on. I mean, they have to hold on, Humanist.
I want to close up on that health bar right there. That was freakishly close. TSM almost closing it out and moving forward here. Infamous Legion holding on by a thread. They just need one good fight to go their way.
You know, before that fight, I would have said that they needed two, right? Because it's a bounties question.
Right.
The gold lead was so big for Team SoloMid that actually Infamous Legion picking up 3 kills is so much money in their pocket. I mean, look at Spaghetti. He's had nothing all game. Now he's sitting on, you know, over
Vainglory!
1,300. Vainglory caught out as well. Could be in a bad position. He's taken very low very quickly. Fountain comes across quite late. He's still got to run, but he might just go for the base and end this one. Something we got to keep our eyes on. Flash X is stunning people up. Bestchuck just trying to stop the backs right now as Vainglory keeps the pressure on the base.
He's going for it.
Q might be able to pick up Bestchuck. He does. He needs to run towards the base. Vainglory.
They gotta get back.
Right now.
They've gotta get back.
Going for the Vein Crystal. I don't think they're going to be able to
Spaghetti.
take Spaghetti. He's on his way back in. Vainglory, does he have the damage? Humanist, 1 or 2 more attacks.
Can he do it, Spaghetti?
Oh, Spaghetti stops the Yummy Catnip Frenzy in its tracks. Team SoloMid. That could be the second fight, right?
I love pasta, I love copy pasta, and I now love spaghetti.
Oh, man. You gotta wonder if maybe there's some mom spaghetti going on right now. Kraken has spawned. Infamous Legion in the position to take it. Things could be turning here. They really could.
Things are turning. Things have begun to turn. I think with that first defense right there, you see the net worth gap closing right here. If this Kraken goes the way of Infamous Legion and they fight well, they can get a lot done.
Bestchuck, why would you not use Buckshot to scout that tri-bush?
Bestchuck's
He's gonna
down!
go down immediately. Terrible misplay coming in from the carry of Team SoloMid. Does reset the Kraken, but I don't really feel like Vainglory has the ability to, over an extended fight, do something here. Infamous Legion needs to be careful, though. If they commit to the Kraken, then the push comes in from Team SoloMid, so it's almost impossible to make a decision right now in such a high-pressure situation. They are just going to back off the Kraken and maybe look towards the lane turret. Vainglory knows that DefQ doesn't have energy, but his weapon power is high.
There's a large wave marching down the lane here. They're going to have to deal with that. DefQ is sitting low on energy. They can't allow him to get caught.
Actually, Vainglory could be the one caught out here, baited in perhaps. So much damage. Flash X doesn't even use Crucible to give him the shield. He knows he can't do enough. The fountain was there, but it was very, very late. Bestchuck has regrouped with Team SoloMid's Flash now, but Infamous Legion, they're just getting iteratively, like, very small incremental advantages.
You asked earlier about what would be a way to come back in this game. My thought was catching someone by surprise out of a bush, and Infamous Legion did not have to catch him out of the bush. Vainglory blindly walked into it himself.
As Bestchuck did before. I mean, what's happening with the communication right now on Team SoloMid is definitely something to be concerned about. Quervoice picked up a Shattered Glass on the Ardent. Now, that's also quite interesting to me. Talk to me a little bit about why you might do that here instead of a very defensively oriented item or a support item.
All right, well, CP Arden, it's a thing we don't talk about a lot here, but definitely it does add some damage. You see these guys walking through the gauntlet wall continuously. It is going to give them a lot of damage while you can reflex and get through there, especially with Skedaddle. Bestchuck's going to eat a lot of damage.
All right, you can see TSM looking like they might want to threaten going for the base again. Vainglory eats the gauntlet, Bestchuck too, but 3 people get Githy and walled. Spaghetti trying to find the burst. It gets blocked, the stun isn't there. Vainglory jumping on top of him. DefQ needs to find the damage. He's over the wall. It's good positioning. He picks up Vainglory. He doesn't have enough to burn through Flash X, though. That gives Bestchuck a lot of ability to maybe move in. He's got constant slows coming out of the buckshots. Skedaddle to try and get himself a little bit closer. Flash X coming around the other side. Def, he can't get out of it.
He can't do it!
It's the ace! Team SoloMid are the second North American team to make it to semifinals at the Vainglory World Championship.
Well, unbelievable, and I really don't agree with the Shattered Glass going on to the Arden here. I think he would have been better suited getting his team some War Treads or something like that. In this case, they needed some mobility, but Team Sol